SK or the fucking Ruger. Don't ever question if I got the heart to shoot.
As we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. I'm your brother Oga from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What it do? What's good? It's your brother Sam and Viral Hip Hop News. It is a Monday, man, and goddamn, I love Mondays. It's another edition of the Uncensored Truth Podcast, episode 153.
Yes,
oh
sir.
God, what's good, my brother?
What up? What up? We in the building today, and do we have an action-packed lineup? But first and foremost, man, I just want to say peace and just send love out to everybody that's listening to the podcast, whether you're listening to it on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, or wherever you're listening to the content at. We do appreciate you today, man. Sam, man, how was your weekend, my brother?
It was dope, man. We got over here on Saturday night for an impromptu episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Took a little bit of a break this week, but it was dope, man. Really enjoyed it. Actually, we might fuck around and have a Saturday night episode messing around with us. It might come on, y'all. But
yeah,
Sunday chilled out, watched a little basketball, saw Milwaukee get their hearts took by the Celtics, saw the Warriors and the Houston Rockets, which was very entertaining, even though all the foul crying was kind of driving me crazy.
right.
I'm an old school kind of NBA kind of dude, as are you.
Yeah,
And I love the NBA players of today. I love of all the casting characters that are out here on the playoffs, but the crying and shit just drives me nuts.
Harden.
Harden, I mean, and that and
Right,
on the
right.
other side too.
Yeah.
Even the Warriors. I'm talking about when the plays are going on, and as soon as you go up and you miss it, you up there crying because you screaming foul and shit. It's been going on for years.
Who you got winning this year? Or first of all, who you got going from the East, and then who you got winning the whole thing this year?
Ooh, the East is real tough, man. Because I like the Greek Freak in Milwaukee, man.
Yeah.
That's my guy. He was my guy all playoffs. But from what I saw yesterday with Boston and Milwaukee, that game, and what Kyrie did to that team, man, he stole their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen this time and time again throughout various sports. You see a team that's hot, that not supposed to be there, but they're there. Maybe the best record in their division, in their conference.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get to the divisional round against one of these hitters and they get their hearts took. And this might be one of these series where Celtics were just primed and ready to get to the Eastern Conference Final. They're ready to get to the finals. They were picked to be in the finals the whole season. They underperformed.
Mhm.
They sitting here in the playoffs. They finally got it going. This has a potential, even though the Celtics are at 4 and Milwaukee's at 1, of being a fucking sweep if Milwaukee doesn't get their shit together. They got their hearts took that bad.
Right.
That being said, in the East, man, I think it's a toss-up right now.
Mhm.
Even though I like the Sixers and I want to see them win, I think it's a toss-up between Toronto and the Celtics. I'll give that pick once they get to the conference finals, because I think them two will get to the conference finals. And
They ain't beating the Warriors though, right? Nobody.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
In the West,
too much.
it's the Warriors all day, every day.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great series against Houston. It'll be a great series in the conference finals, whoever goes. But it's the Warriors against whoever else in the East.
Right.
And it'll be entertaining. I think whoever comes out of the East will give them a lot more of a battle than anybody in the West are going to.
Mhm.
But all being said, it'll be the Warriors at the end.
No doubt. Well, speaking of sports, let's talk about football. So you got the Redskins hat on over there.
Yeah, man.
You
We're proud
know,
too.
rest in
Goddamn.
peace to Sean Taylor. We represent him on the table each and every podcast, right there. So what grade would you give, the Redskins? Actually, I was going to send you a video. So I forgot the content creator, but he did a video and pretty much like he listed all the people that the team drafted and gave them grades. So we wanted to do that today. We wanted to talk about that. Your team's the Redskins minus the Eagles.
Mhm.
What grade do you give the Redskins, at least for the draft right now?
Well, first and foremost, anybody who watches the podcast religiously and hears a little bit of back and forth we talk about sports knows I'm a Redskins fan, and the shit hurts. And I'm a realistic Redskins fan, because even though I love them at heart, I'm not dumb, and I'm not naive to the fact that we've underperformed in the front office, our coaching staff, our players. It's been very disappointing to look at the last 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, looking at this draft, I was very, very pleasantly surprised at what we did. First off, we grabbed Dwayne Haskins, obviously out of Ohio State, the stud that he is.
Mm-hmm.
Not having to go and risk the whole draft and give up everything to go grab him, because we heard the rumors about them wanting him. And I was hoping that he went there, but I'm looking at 15 and I'm looking at the board and I see the Giants at 6 and I'm like, nah, he's not making it there. So we got to think otherwise. And maybe it's not our year to get the franchise quarterback that we so desperately need.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the Giants fuck around and make one of the biggest flops in all NFL draft history, possibly. And I'm thinking that's going to go down.
Yeah,
And
I hope so.
I hope so too. And then we see Dwayne Haskins land number 1 or number 15. And I'm like, shh, beautiful.
Right.
I wanted to give him an A already, but we have to be critical because, of course, we know that number 1 draft pick is important, but it's the pieces they put around him that are even more critical. And when I see what the Redskins did with Montez Sweet, Terrell McLaren, another Ohio State wide receiver, another receiver, the running back, Bryce Love. They had another wide receiver. What's my brother's name? The electrifying.
Was it Harmon, his last name?
Yeah, Harmon.
Right.
We got my man Harmon, Bryce Love. We got 2 offensive linemen who we desperately needed, of course, and we got a couple other defensive backs and playmakers. I would give us an A.
Okay.
I would give us an A, and I'm not, like I said, that's not an easy grade.
Right.
I'm very hard on my team, and when I look at the board from top to bottom and everything that they have around them, if the coaches, now it's the coaches, because we got the club, we got the clientele, we got it to really compete. I think the Eagles are still a class above everybody right now, but when it looks at the years and years ahead, if we can keep everybody healthy,
building process,
we got a force right around us right now.
Yeah, and anytime you get a quarterback like that, man, the sky's the limit for the team when you build around them. But the Eagles, man, I think, stay true to form. They got Dillard, which if you watch his film from, not only his college film, but from pro day and the draft when they had to do all the drills and stuff like that, the dude can move. Yeah, the best, and the Eagles. You remember going back to Trey Thomas and Runyon, and they got Peters, and they always had that premier left tackle to protect the quarterback. So I think this is a guy that they went down a little bit. A lot of people think they may have gave a lot of, but his upside is huge, man. And I think that he eventually, Jason Peters is 38. He's going to come right in and fill in and be protecting Carson Wentz, for years to come. But I like this guy right here, Miles Sanders, man. Penn State.
Talking about him, man.
You gotta watch him because his style was a little bit like McCoy, a little bit, but he battled out. Not really battled, but he was behind Saquon Barkley. You know what I mean? It was pretty much breathing down his neck for his job. The whole time he was the number 1 recruited running back in the country. You know what I mean? And they got him over there in Penn State. So I like the dude, man. Then I like his attitude as well. We needed a running back. But the other guy I'm excited about, 2 other people really, JJ Arteaga. I like this dude, wide receiver, 6'2". From what it looks like, almost like an Alshon Jeffrey type of dude. You know what I mean? But that's
would y'all pick him up at 3rd round?
Yeah. Okay. No, second.
Okay.
We had 2 in the second. Second, 25th. Pick it. Then they go to Penn State and get a local dude, Sharif Miller. You know what I mean? He's from Philly, Frankfurt High School. Bring him in, edge rusher, DN. I think goes D tackle too sometimes. And, huge pickup right there. Also, we got a quarterback.
Did y'all?
Clayton, in the 5th round. Clayton Thorson, from Northwestern. I think we need somebody to battle Sudfeld with Foles going over to Jacksonville. And we know that Wentz, the last couple of years, he ain't been able to be healthy. We need a young guy that can come in potentially and make things happen. But if you look at the Eagles, the offseason, getting Deshaun Jackson, loading up on the defense, bringing back Brandon Graham, bringing back Jerrigan. We lost a little bit, but if Wentz comes back to 2017 form, and and everything works like it's supposed to. We got the guy from Chicago. I forget his name right now, the running back. And then my man from Penn State. The Eagles definitely the class of the division along with the Cowboys, but I would say A. You never really know until they take the field. So I want to say A now, and these guys be flops. But I say if you give me the top 3, Dillard, Sanders, and Arteaga, if they can start contributing within the next year to year and a half, especially year 2, I think you can talk about an A+ for the Eagles in this draft, man. I think they knocked it right down the middle with this one.
You know what? I disagree with you a little bit. I agree with you when it comes to the Eagles being the class of the East when it comes to right now, here and now, but I disagree when it comes to the Cowboys. I'm not impressed with what they got going on.
A lot of people
I'm not impressed. I'm going to fuck with the people. I'm not impressed with Dak. I think Zeke Elliott's a beast. He's going to do his thing, but for some reason, I think that they don't have the pieces in place, and there'll always be something to keep them back. And the moves that we made, if the coaching staff can stay in line and do the right things, we are breathing down everybody's throat, and we'll have a respectable season and going further. Let's talk about the Giants a little bit, man, before we get into our 1-2, man.
Daniel Jones. Right.
It's
what do you think about that?
I think it's deeper than rap a little bit. I think that, and I don't always want to class it on race and class it on color, but in this situation, you really have to start thinking about it. And the evidence shows that there might be a little bit to what I'm talking about. Because when you look at the history of New York football teams, the only black quarterback that they've ever had, Jets or Giants, is Geno Smith, his bum ass. So Giants never. When you look at the draft and you look at obviously Kyle Murray going number 1, we've seen that coming. That was all day. That was a lock. We see that every year. The number 1's lock gone. And then you look at number 6 with the Giants having a need to fill for Eli coming, obviously being his predecessor. The obvious pick is Haskins. Everybody thinks it's Haskins coming out of Ohio State, being a Jersey boy, wanting to play in New York.
It has to be.
Having he had for 2018, he had 50 touchdowns to 8 interceptions in the season. Daniel Jones has 53 touchdowns to God knows how many interceptions in his 3 years starting.
He's projected like 3rd or 4th.
It's disgusting.
Right.
It really makes no sense. And they're giving it to the relationship of the Mannings and this or that. I don't think they ever looked at Haskins. I don't think they ever
That's a
cared.
good point, man.
And it's really sad because when you look at, and I'm happy as hell. From a Redskins perspective, I'm happy. Come to Chocolate City, baby. Let's work.
Yeah.
But when you look at it from a money perspective, and from 6 to 15, although it's still millions of dollars, everybody should be happy, blah, blah, blah. Nah, that's some money that he lost.
You got this dude. You got to talk about the quarterback the Redskins picked up. He wanted to go to the Giants. He was a lot, North Jersey, went up there. I think probably a Giants fan. You know what I mean? All the connections were there for him to go to the Giants. I think he even came out of his mouth and said it. That's where he wanted to play football. Everybody thought he should go there. They bypassed him to pick up a 3rd to 4th round projected Daniel Jones. The dude, so I guess the point we got to get to, when you look at the history of the New York Giant quarterbacks, going all the way back to Charlie Connery, Phil, you don't have a black quarterback.
No.
So do you think that maybe they don't want to see a black quarterback at the helm leading the New York Football Giants because they had the opportunity to take the best? There's no doubt about it, Sandman, that the better quarterback was Hastings, right? Haskins was the better quarterback. No doubt about it.
There's no doubt.
No doubt about it. So it's just that's legitimate, question I think that should be asked.
We got to go through the draft and see how many times they may have passed up or passed on, because I would really love to look at the stats, but it just, what other excuse do you have? I mean, we've seen these kind of things happen before where it made you've seen certain picks and it made you scratch your head a little bit. But when it comes to upper office, when it comes to the coaching, of course, the players, they're going to let them brothers run up and down all day and get them revenue. But when it comes to the upper echelon of the NFL, there is no denying that there's a lot of racism and bias and oppression involved in the league. There's no doubt about it. When you look at certain styles of coaches, and even Haskins, a lot of the knock on black quarterbacks are, all right, they're fast, they can run, but they can't adapt systems very well. They don't understand they can't be a drop back passer. You don't see him out there. Haskins is all of that. High intellectual guy. Fucking played under Urban Meyer's system in the Big Ten, one of the most complex and intellectual systems in all of college football. Excelled in that in his rookie year. High profile guy, nothing but good things said about him. Never anything off the field. Great family around him. Great leader. Why the fuck wouldn't you want him?
Right.
And you just pass him for no reason. Now, you can do what you want with your franchise, but when you look at no black quarterbers ever in your franchise.
Gettleman's an idiot for the Giants.
Tell him, man.
He's an idiot, man.
Idiot.
The whole city knows it. I mean, you see, look at social media. The fans even know it. They're sick and tired. I mean, you get rid of Odell, the best, wide receiver in the game. They let with my man go to Washington in the secondary. I forget the man's last name right now, but he's a beast. Y'all signed him to a big contract right now. It's just like, he just getting rid of all the good players. The only thing he can say is, in the next few years, this will all pay off, man. This dude is sick. That's why you look at the NFC, you look at the cream of the crop, the teams, man, the Eagles, and, it's a culture, the Patriots, and it's a culture that's built around the team, and it has to start from the bottom to the top and go from the top to the bottom, man. I just think right now that the Giants are in disarray, and I'm happy about it because I'm an Eagles fan. I fuck the Giants, you know what I mean, for real, like that. So I don't want to see them win anyway, but that kind of is what it is. And they're a real passionate team, but I do know, coming up and just observing different things, and we see that the NFL does have a lot I mean, remember a time the whole league was white
Yeah.
at one point, you know what I mean? And we still, you know, with the ownership and, you know, no black owner. So we got a long way to go here. So, you know, that kind of is what it is, though.
Indeed, man. I couldn't agree more.
Yes, sir. But you tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Old God and Sam. Man, before we go on, though, I wanted to finish our sports, you know, segment, because I was just thinking about this. We got to definitely, I think, when the season kicks off, is to do like some type of a sports podcast. Maybe if it's not as long, and cut some clips and start to upload sports content. You know what I mean? But I want to talk about Tariq Hill. I don't know if you heard the audio yet of him talking to his baby mom and whatnot. But pretty much, you know, if you haven't, I'll just give you a quick, you know, synopsis of what happened. Pretty much, it is being alleged that he pretty much hitting up on his own son. You know, son's 3 years old. His son ended up with a broken arm. You know what I mean? There's a recording out there where he's on the phone with his baby mom and his baby going back and forth, and she's saying, you know, your son's scared of you, this, that, and this third, and this, that, and then he goes on to say, Tariq Hill, you should be scared of me too, babe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you probably seen that. The Chiefs have barred him, you know, from all activities. Probably gonna end up being released. Now, the prosecutor at first wasn't going to press charges, but they're saying now that they're going to relook into possibly charges being pressed against Tariq Hill. So he's probably done, you know, with the Chiefs, probably out of the NFL for at least a year at this point, at least. What do you think about, you know, first I saw a lot of, you know, sports commentators, Stephen A. Smith, Sharp, talking about, you know, the Tariq Hill tape. But how do you feel about that, what he did allegedly to his son?
Man, well, we fathers, man. And
right.
We also grew up in a culture where got some ass whippings. You know what I mean? And it created character. I don't think that we've ever taken a butt whipping to where we've ever had substantial damage done to where arms were broken or anything wild like that, especially at 3.
Yeah.
I got a 3-year-old daughter, and that girl's wild at all costs. She's
crazy.
fucking wild.
Yeah.
And never in my wildest imagination would I ever want to lay a hand on her. That's my daughter, let alone break something. That's my son. My son too.
Yeah.
Never would want to break anything. That's my baby. So for you to have that much that kind of anger and frustration in you, to take it to a level to where obviously you're a professional athlete, so you're a superior human being when it comes to physicality and compared to a normal person, in particular a 3-year-old, for you to have that level of frustration to where you could do that and snap off and then have a conversation to where you're just as equally aggressive and threatening to the woman that is having a conversation, even though she set you up, putting that tape in that, she knew what you were going to say. You need help, bro. You need help, because people and brothers like that, and what I mean by brothers, I mean men. I don't mean just black. I mean men, period. When you see someone with that level of anger, they don't understand. It's like a pit bull that doesn't know their strength. And at any moment, that snap of a finger and that level of aggression, if that kid may have made you frustrated in any way, that arm could have been a skull. That baby skull could hit this and the baby's gone.
Yeah, that's real
and
talk.
You're sitting in jail for murder. So that man needs help.
He needs help. Yeah.
He don't need to be in the league right now, because if he could sit here with all these blessings, being one of the fastest motherfuckers I've ever seen, run on a football field with the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the best teams in the AFC, balling. If he can still be on that level and his life isn't happy by now, that brother needs help. Yeah,
and I think that's the conclusion I came to. Even though it's a sad situation, I hate to see anything happen. The kids are important, the most important, the kids and the women. So anytime something like that happens, again, it's just being alleged now that it was him. And the reason that they didn't press charges because they said they couldn't ascertain who exactly did it. But you know, if he did, which it does look like he did, it's just, you know, unexcusable, you know, for him to do that. But like you said, he needs some type of help, because when you start talking like that, then it could escalate. Next thing you know, somebody could end up, you know what I mean? I hate to say it. So, you know, that type of anger, even though he, you know, done huge numbers over last year, probably one of the top receivers in the league easily. He's going to have to take whatever punishment they give him, go get some type of, you know, I don't know, you know, psychological help for whatever that is inside you. Young guy, only 25 years old, so he can rebound. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? Take some time off and then try to get that, you know, settled and salvage the relationship with your son, because he's 3 years old. You made some mistakes, but it's not over yet. You still got a whole life ahead of you. So hopefully he can do that. But, you know, people got problems out here, man. Everybody grows up different ways. He had issues in the past, I think in 2016, and you know, so You gotta get some help.
You know, it's oh God, I think everybody, whether and I don't know if I agree with the psychologists and all that to that degree, but I don't knock anybody who goes, because I can genuinely respect having someone to just let it all out to. Because it's very rarely can you find a person to give it all to give somebody a true thoughts. And I ain't talking about a companion. I ain't talking just somebody to just go and take it to a different kind of level to where you ain't sharing with other people, right? Just so they can give a kind of a perspective, a different perspective to where your mind is going to the situation, and that shit could help. And in a lot of situations, we don't know what his past is. We don't know how his childhood is, but he's angry. And there's something in him that's not making him happy. That's clear. When you have all these accolades and you finally get to the NFL, now you have the money, this and not that money buys happiness. It's obvious it doesn't, but there should really be no reason for this level of aggression to be inside of you, unless there's something inside of you that's just hurt and broke and damaged. And that has to be addressed. And that's a little bit inside of all of us. Some we act out a little more than others, but I think we just all got to tap into that demon a little bit and address it and just kind of talk about it.
Yeah, I hope the best for the situation. You know, the kid, the mom, and everything, and Tariq Hill. Hopefully, he seeks the right, help. But it's probably gonna get bad right now before it gets any good for him. He needs to just get that help, man.
That's a fact,
definitely. But yeah, you tuned into the Unsaid the Truth podcast, our sports segment. Today, man, we're gonna get something going with that real soon. The next few months, though. But yeah, man, if you're listening on YouTube, do me a favor, hit the like button and make sure that you share this video. Now, Sam, and I want to talk about the Cassidy and Goodz battle, because we watched.
Are we allowed? Oh God, because we're not battle.
Yeah, we can be now. We're officially allowed because we actually watched. We watched the battle.
We allowed.
You know what I mean? So we're actually officially allowed to speak about this, because there's very few people doing it. You know what I mean? I'm just keeping it a buck. But anyway, I want to talk about it because me, I was riding with Cassidy, hard body, obviously. And even I think you even picked you picked Cassidy, right?
I did pick Cassidy.
You picked Cassidy, and the battle happened. We watched it, and we have our opinion on who we thought won that battle. It was rough. What I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna get the other Sam Ant give his thoughts on who he thought won, the battle, because they don't really officially. They kind of let the people just talk, I guess, after, right? They don't really pick somebody there. So, but from what you saw, from what you observed, who do you think won the Cassidy Goodz battle the other day? Smack URL.
Well, I'll start by saying I thought Goodz won 2-1, and I thought that it was he handled his business. He took care of business fairly easy from what I saw. And it was surprising to me. Well, I don't know if it was so surprising to me, but that's not taking anything away from Cass. That's the environment. And a couple of the knocks that I had on Cass, even in us talking about it and the limited knowledge that we had on Goodz, and we apologize for that. But the limited knowledge we had on Goodz, what I was saying was, in that type of arena where the crowd is everything, where the delivery is everything, where that emotion you almost have to bring out in your bars, Cassidy almost is behind. I don't want to dated when it comes to certain ways to deliver, when it comes to that kind of environment. And when Goodz came up to bat and the way he was delivering, and it definitely reminds me of what Sue Surf said when he was talking to Chris Brown. To the average new up and coming rap battle listener, Goodz is going to win easily in their ears because he's going to deliver it in a way that Cassidy isn't going to catch their attention. And it fell right into place just like that.
But I think the reason why that happened is because what he was saying about Cassidy, and Cassidy alluded to in an interview that he did. I forget the station he did an interview with, but he was just saying, when you look my name up, you can see all this stuff and allegations here. If you look Goodz' name up, you really can't find, that. So he almost kind of put himself in a handicapped situation. And it looks like Goodz even used the people, the naysayers, as fuel and said, look, I'm going to go in and just hit this dude with mad relevant shit, hit him where it hurt. It was cringeworthy some points there. I almost felt bad for Cass. I'm like, man, it was almost like he was not deer in the headlights, but somebody, you ever see somebody get into a fight and you go in there and you see well, damn, he shouldn't be in there. You know what I mean? It's just not his element. He never could really, get it. And I don't even think it was the delivery or nothing like that. I just think what he was saying, it just wasn't really connecting. You start going in on somebody, you're hitting them with all types of different things. He brought up the R. Kelly. He was bringing up the tranny joint, and it's the way that he did it, the way he put it together was masterful. And I'm not really even an avid battle rap listener, but just the content, verse content, I think Goodz got him on that. The stuff that Cassidy's saying was kind of just like, maybe he just need to do better research on. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
God,
know.
do you think that Cass gave too much in the first round? Because I gave it 2-1. I thought Cass was cooking in the first round, and I heard Goodz even allude
2-1
to
for me too. Exactly.
Cass he worked. He put in work.
Yeah,
but he put in a lot of work. I think it was even maybe an 8-minute, 9-minute first round for Cass compared to a 5-6 minute round for Goodz.
Though, Sandman, though,
did he give too much?
It doesn't matter because Goodz kept getting better. Even if you say
he
that,
saved some of his ammo.
But he was, so it was 3. It was 3 rounds altogether. Those last 2 was fire.
But he cooked them.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe he, but still coming from a veteran, that's something you got to be able to do. You got to be able to know, that all right, I got to make sure this stretches out, to this point to make sure. But again, maybe it's almost like when you don't get a chance to spar with somebody before you fight them, you don't really know. You can look at the film and everything, but until you get in the ring with them and they start checking you, and you're like, oh shit, this dude got strength. That's what I think happened to Cassidy. It was almost like, you get in the ring, you think I can take this dude, and then you start feeling the strength and shit. Like, oh shit, I'm in for a fight.
Yeah, I mean, and you usually see the person that promotes the fight the best isn't usually the one that's going to be the best in the ring, so to speak. And he promoted the hell out of this fight. He promoted it great. We gave him a lot of credit for promoting it the way that he did because it wasn't getting as much attention as we thought. We have our thoughts on how it was presented. We have our thoughts on how it was supposed to be purchased and things like that. We'll get into that later on.
What do you think about the crowd, though? What do you think about, because Cassidy talked about the crowd being against him. Do you think that they was like more so against Cassidy, or they wasn't really feeling what he was saying? Like almost like they kind of wanted Goodz to win.
No, oh God, I said this, man. The crowd there is like no other, and you got to get them on your side. First round, they were on his side. They were fucking with what he was saying. They were messing with the bars. They lost, or Cass lost the crowd when Cass lost us. The second round came in, we like, what the wait a minute. And then Goodz was just hitting him. In third round, there's no response. He's hitting him. In the crowd with the energy, you're going to respond differently than you are sitting behind a computer watching the event right there. So they were kind of feeling what we were feeling. They were getting restless. They were getting tired. They got on them, and I knew that was going to happen. I had a feeling that crowd would make a real determination in what happened, and Goodz fed off it, and it seemed like Cass was bothered by it.
Do you think that Cassidy will be able to beat him a second time around? Would you want to see a part 2, or you think it's over?
I don't want to see a part 2.
So would you say that it was a massacre?
What I say was a massacre. I think what's done was already done. I think that we would love to see Cassidy back in the battle rap ring. I don't want to see it done because he has 5,000 some odd battles, and that's what a lot of people's knocks was. He has all these battles, but no one has seen them. I definitely feel like he's had a lot of battles because his rep, when you talk to real battle rappers throughout here, he has a lot of respect. So a ton of respect from everybody. Yeah. So he's battled out here. There's no doubt about it. I would like to see him more behind the camera in the ring with some of these hard hitting spitters out here. The Surfs, Hollow the Dons. You know what I mean? I want to see him against Smoke. Do you think it could
turn into a situation like, I don't want to see, it happen where it continues, this pattern continues, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to think,
like Arturo Gotti just getting beat up.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to think that, it's going to keep, happening. But, here's what I will say though, man, the dude definitely surprised me, Goodz, even though a lot of people saying he could have been better. And a lot of people think Cassidy won, believe it or not, reading the comments and whatnot. But I had to just keep it a buck. I watched it. I'm like, well, man, and I was going for Cassidy. So if it was even a little close, I would have said that Cassidy won. But I think I was listening to what the dude was saying, and it was just, even if it wasn't true, it was just, man, it was body shots.
A lot of people, your hardcore rap battle URL fans will say that the battle itself was ass. Both rappers weren't that good.
Okay, right.
And the undercard was even better. And there's rappers out there that would smash both them rappers. But when you talk about the battle in itself, I mean, I think Goodz hands down took care of his business, and it was easy.
Right. And so Goodz say all the people who doubted him. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen that interview.
Yeah, I saw it.
The thing was, we just didn't have a lot of information to go off of, but I'll give a man his credit. I just like if you get into a fight, somebody beat you, they beat you. You can't win them all. You know what I mean? Motherfucker might just that day he was just, a little bit better, a basketball game or a football game or whatever. But the bottom line is, like they say on Friday, you live to fight again, man.
Exactly.
That's all.
And they both should live to fight again. Salute to both of them.
Yes, sir. Hopefully, the bag's definitely gonna get bigger for both of them. It was good for the URL.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And we definitely, support that. That's what's up, man.
Facts. Indeed.
Definitely. But you're tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Old God and Sam, man. We going in today on this Monday. If you're listening on YouTube, y'all already know what to do. Go ahead, hit the like button for us. Go ahead and just share this video on your Facebook timeline, or just send it to at least one friend via text message. All right, man. I want to talk about Chris Rock, because Chris Rock is now under major backlash for a meme that he shared on Instagram of Whitney Houston. I'm going to put the image on the screen so everybody can see, and I'll read the caption. He puts me sitting in a meeting that could have been an email. And then he puts Chris Rock at the bottom. Hurry up. I got crack to smoke. And that's Whitney Houston's picture. We seen this yesterday, and we said we will definitely, speak about it, on the podcast today. What do you think about this, Sam, man? Because we've done a few stories on Whitney. We talked about Kanye West, I think it was, who purchased, the mural of the bathroom, the infamous bathroom scene of where she, spent her last few days, I think it was. What do you think about this, man? Just comedy or just a real sickening, disturbing post by Chris Rock?
Whoa, I wouldn't go sickening and disturbing. It didn't sicken or disturb me. Didn't do that. And maybe people get mad at me for saying that. Maybe.
Wow, are you serious?
That's shocking. Oh shit. Oh god. He's a comedian. He's a comedian, and he's meant to make people laugh. But what I asked you in the pre-production, I think I'm going to go on a little deeper, because I asked you, if he said this on stage, would it give you the same feeling that it did on social media? And you said, yeah, it was disrespectful. You didn't like it, but I'll let you go into how you feel.
No doubt.
It did not bother me because I'm not as sensitive as a lot of motherfuckers are in 2019. I understand who he is. I get who he is. Was it wrong? Yeah. Was it off colored? Yeah. Was it bad timing? Of course. Was it Chris Rock? Yep. So do I give him a pass? Yep, because he's a comedian. Mm-hmm. So the backlash that he's getting, all this other shit, I think is real corny. I think people have a lot of selective outrage. And yeah, that's where I'll start with it.
I think it's disrespectful, man. I think it's, disgusting, that he did it, comedian or not. I just think, when somebody's dead, you kind of just leave it there, no matter how they die. I don't think that you make light of something that somebody struggled, with, possibly could have been the ultimate cause of their death. I don't think you make light of that. You know what I mean? Especially somebody your own skin folk. You know what I mean? I just don't think it was cool by Chris Rock to do that. Whether it was on, I just didn't expect it, man. It kind of, I got to be honest with you, it hit me, from left field to see, like, damn, like, why would he do that? And even Bobby Brown, obviously, made a statement, about it. And he's pissed off. You know what I'm saying?
Of course he is.
That's fucked up.
I would equally not care if he did that to his good friend, big fat white boy, rest in peace, Chris Farley, who passed away with drug abuse, and he put a picture up of him and said, "Yeah, I'm looking for crack." Mm-hmm. I wouldn't care just as much as I don't care about the Whitney Houston.
Well, let me before you go, let me just read what Bobby Brown said. So before you go in too much, and you don't want to dig too much bigger hole for yourself.
I ain't digging shit.
During this time of women empowerment, you choose to use your time to try to humiliate our queen. That's what he says, in reference, to, and that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's almost like, man, like, don't, I get it, you're a comedian and whatnot, and you say a whole bunch of things either way, but, for you to, she meant a lot more. She was bigger than just the crack addiction, or, what I mean? She meant a lot more for a lot of people than that. Her music, transcended all of that. So I just think, like, it's a situation where, okay, maybe some people are overreacting, but somebody like Bobby Brown or somebody who's really close to her might just want to punch this dude in the face when they see him, you know what I mean? Or something like that, even my family member, somebody did that to my family member, I would be pissed off, you know what I mean? No matter what they was going through, that's still your family, you still love them. To make a joke of that, I'm just keeping it a buck. Maybe it's a little bit outraged. I'm sure you're going to have people saying it is. You're going to have some people, obviously, Chris Rock is receiving a lot of backlash from this. So that's kind of why I stand with it. And I appreciate King Bobby Brown, as his name says on Twitter, addressing him as such.
All right, yeah, it's easy to do this king and queen shit now that is popular in 2018. Man. Right? And this is no disrespect to Bobby, but was she your queen when you were doing what you were doing with her? I'm just saying. And with all that being, because I'm not disagreeing with what he's saying. I'm not disagreeing with what he's saying, but what he's trying to do right now is act as though this was premeditated racial black hate, and it wasn't. Stop. Chris Rock has done more for the black culture than fucking Bobby Brown has ever done. So let's stop there. Was it off-colored? Was it ignorant? Yes.
Disgusting.
Bad timing? Probably. I agree with you 100% on that. Did he deserve a little bit of a lashing? Talk about him. This is what we used to do. Somebody go on one of yours,
not a comedian.
you're going on one of
Everybody's not a
him.
comedian,
But everybody wants to get all shocking. All
Everybody's
so
not a comedian.
Fucking sensitive.
So what if it was your family member? How would you feel about
I'm
it?
going back at Chris Rock. I'm not being all sick and
You
sensitive.
fucking Chris Rock
and you
up.
know that. And you know that. But that's just me. I'm not everybody. I'm not going to ask anybody to give me no pity party. And I'm damn sure not jumping on social media to talk about this or that. It'll get handled differently.
I mean, that's the thing now. Everybody is just people jump on social media to talk about that. Chris Rock went on there. Bobby Brown made it. You know, it is what it is, man. It'll get washed under the rug. Actually the next couple of days, but I just think out of all the people that you could have dissed, why pick her, man? Come on, Chris.
It was bad timing, and just for what it's worth, I don't think that he put up the actual. I think that the meme was something different, and he commented underneath that with a smart ass comment.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, though.
I'm not saying I'm not whitewashed. Nah, it was what it was. It was just as strong regardless. He did the damage. I'm not saying I'm not giving him any credit for that or anything like that. I'm not trying to make him innocent.
No doubt.
It'll be here today, going tomorrow. We talk about it today. It'll get a sting for 3 or 4 days, and then we won't even remember.
I'll tell you this though, man. That picture was when we seen that picture of the bathroom scene or whatever. That kind of just made everything. It was bad, man. Remember that whole picture with the Kanye?
I do.
Yeah.
Whitney Houston was a legend, man, and we grew up loving her.
Right.
Our mothers grew up loving her. Our family grew up loving her. I remember her singing at the national anthem at the Super Bowl. Brought tears to my eyes as a kid.
Saying,
I remember when Randall Cunningham asked her to marry him after that shit. She was a real staple in our life. And when you seen her go through the drug abuse as a kid, even though we really didn't understand it, it was hurt to watch her go through that. And when she died, that hit my mother real hard because my mother was really in love with her. And my mom sent me some things talking about just Whitney Houston didn't love herself. She would even just look in the mirror after everything she did and wonder if she was pretty and wonder if she just meant something. And it almost kind of talks about Tyreek Hill just on a whole different level, but just the same kind of premise when you mean you got all of this fame, all of this fortune, all of this love, and you still aren't happy with yourself. Why? Right. And if she just had somebody to talk to, if she just had somebody to confide in, maybe we'd still have one of our greatest queens around. Because not only was her voice was absolutely beautiful, she was absolutely beautiful. She was a great actress. She was really starting to transcend this game to where we can be holding her on a real high pedestal when it comes to our royalty. And we needed to put her to rest a proper way as opposed to losing her to drugs and alcohol abuse. Right. And that's just real. Yeah. But when it comes to little jokes and shit, I just think people got to be a little less sensitive.
I mean, that is what it is. We figured we'd talk about it, just get the people's reaction on that. I can't wait to read what the people have to say about that.
They gonna
Yeah. I think that, it's going to go both ways, I think, obviously. But, I can't wait to see the reaction. We love, the engagement of the people. And all we actually do is go ahead and just share the video if you enjoy it. Go ahead and always just hit the like button on whatever video you're watching this on. I'm going to move over to this next story because it not really ties in, but talks about, somebody we grew up, pioneer, director. We found out, a few minutes ago, John Singleton has died at the age of 51. Now, less than 2 weeks after him suffering a massive stroke, he has succumbed, to the stroke. There was a lot of different rumors going around earlier yesterday that he already passed, but now we got the official confirmation of the news, man. And I was just kind of just looking through his movies, and I was just enamored, like, whoa, like I didn't know he did this and this and this, and Boys in the Hood, Poetic Justice, Baby Boy, and Higher Learning you was talking about, man. And sad, to see somebody like this go, simply because what he meant. You know what I mean? When you talk about movies, you talk about an art form, and he told his message through the movies, man. And appreciative, from being able to watch that. What are your thoughts, though, man, on John Singleton dying at just 51?
We lost a pioneer today, man. And when you start really reflecting on it, you'll see. Because as a lot of young Black males and females throughout the world, we we remember our childhoods vividly. And I know one of my vivid childhood memories is sitting in that room watching Boys in the Hood with you as kids and learning how to curse. And then once we started getting into it and copying and mimicking what was going on, we had a snitch come in, tell our parents we got in trouble. But all that being aside, we got to watch how it was for our people in cities and areas that we weren't necessarily in and accustomed to. And even though we grew up, we really truly grew up in the village, and our people raised us all together. We truly did. We were blessed in that situation, but a lot of us weren't. And we grew up in the Rodney Kings, and we grew up in the LA riots. And even though we didn't understand it, these movies that John Singleton was dropping, when you think about Boys in the Hood, even Poetic Justice to a degree. And then once it got followed up with the Menace to Societies, and he was a pioneer in all that shit, even though he may not have directed the Menace to Societies and the South Centrals and things like that. He birthed it. That gave us just a direct look into what was going on. And for the people that lived in it, for our brothers and sisters that lived in it, man, it just was like, wow, this man is telling our story in such an amazing way. And then when you talk about higher learning, when that came out, I mean, my God, 1995, young impressionable children getting to look at race firsthand, getting to see it first fucking hand, and looking at the devastation behind hatred. And it made you feel different, man. It made you feel different. And he was just a revolution. He was a revolutionist in that. Spike Lee, the same. And even though I don't feel like John Singleton gets the recognition as he should, man, did he do amazing movies. You talk about Higher Learning, Rosewood Shaft. He did Too Fast, Too Furious. He was in that series. He did Four Brothers. He did Empire, American Crime Story. He did the man endless, is endless, man. So we lost a pioneer today. We can be inspired by this because we've been losing a lot of pioneers in 2019. But the one thing that we can both say for the pioneers that we're losing so far is they're leaving impressions. And the one thing we were talking about before we went on air is, damn, like this is just motivation to do movies. And I was talking about that Fresh Prince series, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. People are just using their creativity and taking it to another level. And this brother right here, John Singleton, salute to his condolences to his family, because you were a revolutionist, and you really inspired, and your energy is out here because now we're motivated to do I mean, what you left.
Definitely, man. And once again, condolences to any member of the family, because a lot of times, you never know who's watching you. You know what I mean? It could be a family member of somebody who knows somebody. So condolences. We send our love for the platform and whatnot over to y'all, in your time of bereavement. We want to move on here, man, on the Uncensored Truth podcast, man. We want to encourage everybody, if you're listening on YouTube, though, to go over to Spotify, iTunes, whatever you listen to, your music streaming platform, and type in Uncensored Truth podcast, and we're over there as well. Our full episodes are available on any one of those streaming platforms. Make sure you show us some love over there as well. And I said, man, you had a story you wanted to talk about Prince.
Yes, man. I wanted to talk about Prince because his sister-in-law or stepsister, I'll figure that out. I got you. Right. She was talking about some financial situation they were dealing with. Now, Prince is not resting in peace while this is going on. Oh, hold on. Let me get this story. Now, her name is Sharon Nelson. She's the half-sister of Prince. Has alleged that the late legend's estate has been mismanaged by Commercial Bank and Trust. Now, according to Nelson, nearly 3 years after her brother's death, his estate will soon be bankrupt due to unsettled disputes between the institution and his heirs. Now, Nelson tells Billboard that the infighting between the family and Commercial, have resulted in thousands of court filings and racked up millions of dollars in legal fees without any money or real estate assets being distributed to the late artist's beneficiaries. Nelson tells the publications that if disputes are not settled, Prince's estate will be bankrupt by the end of the year. Man, oh God, what's your thoughts on that, man?
When I'm hearing you talk about this, man, it just, the only thing I could say, don't know the particulars of that too much, but the only thing I could say is anybody listening to make sure that you have everything lined up before. I know it's nothing that people want, to plan out, but make sure you plan it out, because the key thing that I heard was the infighting in the family and people wanting this and wanting to get a hold of this and that. And, it can happen with any family, no matter how you think the love is or whatnot. When it's a lot of money involved, a lot of people can, when they don't come from a lot, they could, a lot of things could go wrong there. So it's just like, make sure that's planned out. I hope that it's not that bad where they really have to go bankrupt. Bankrupt doesn't always mean broke.
No, right.
But you know, not to get that confused. But I just think it's a bad situation, man. I just wish it would have been better for him, you know, in that situation. Everything would have been lined up. Man.
This is sad, man. When you look at just the impact that man made and the power that he made in the music industry and owning his own masters. And if you own your own masters, he made some real fine coin. That man is a legend. Mm-hmm. And for them to be going through what they're going through, like you said, man, you just wish and you hope that people, and you can learn from this, just put their arrangements in better order. Yeah. So these kind of situations don't happen. They also say that his full sister, Tyke Nelson, his half brothers, Omar Baker, Alfred Jackson, John R. Nelson, and his half sister, Noreen Nelson, have racked up $3 million in legal fees over this shit that I'm sure is getting taken away from trust and all this kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
Man, is it a sad situation. Hopefully, like you said, bankruptcy does not necessarily mean broke. Hopefully he has some business ventures in line to where somebody's in somebody's ear to, let this go, do this, do that. But it's just real sad. We're seeing this happen to a number of our legends that are passing away. We've seen it happen to a lot of them. I mean, when you look back, who hasn't it happened to? We've seen now Aretha Franklin. Now she's going through something. Yeah. We always heard the rumors about Mike. Marvin went through it. Yeah. There was rumors about Whitney that went through it. So, I mean, it just seems like a terrible and disgusting. I think
what happens is, people, they're living and they're getting the fame and starting the money, and it's something they kind of not advised to do, and they think that they're probably going to live forever. Nothing's going to happen, and then it does, and then it's not set up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I think it's best to get it done early, get it out the way, get things set up, because it'll be peace of mind because you already know this is what they wanted. Your stay or whatever, it's going to be clear what's going to be done, so it won't be no confusion. So everything is a lesson, man. Like, if just take a lesson out of everything. This has to be the lesson for people to learn that.
That's a fact.
Definitely, man. But yeah, man, you tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother Old God and the Sandman. Going in today on this Monday afternoon. Everybody listening on YouTube, go ahead and hit the like button and make sure that you share this video. Now, Sandman, the other day we talked about the Bun B. Yeah. Pretty much he was in his crib. His wife was downstairs. Guy came in, put a pistol in her face, backed her in, and Bun B heard the commotion, pretty much got into a shootout with the guy, chased him and everything, told him to take his mask off, and the guy later went to the hospital pretty much and was arrested because they found out that a guy was shot after he just broke into his house. So what are your thoughts on that, Sandman? I know you want to speak more so about that today, the Bun B situation. So what are your thoughts on that whole situation?
Well, I mean, I seen it yesterday, and we talked about the Bun B situation, but I think on individual platforms. We didn't get to talk about it together.
Facts.
And when I heard the story initially, and I seen that this young 20-year-old man, making a mistake, obviously going and just looking for just come ups any way that he can for whatever reason he is, and he went into the wrong house and caught a bullet for it. Mm-hmm. And you can never fault a man for protecting his home. If somebody intruded your home, your place of peace, your place of safety, comfort, and puts a gun to your wife, you're lucky it's not worse.
Yeah.
You're lucky it's not worse. So shout out to Bun B for even having the control to be able to pop him in his shoulder, let that kid live through his mistake, and get up out of there.
His head, he missed, by the way.
And I wouldn't fault him. In that situation, I wouldn't fault him.
And it's lucky because it's like it could have been the other way around. Maybe the wife was upstairs and Bun B was there. He didn't have his pistol. So it was just a situation. He was upstairs. He had the pistol with him. He could come down and defend it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, again, somebody comes to your household like that, but a gun, it's on.
It's on.
Yeah, it's on.
Point blank period. You don't got time to ask. You don't got time to do nothing. Now, you were saying in the pre-production, I didn't hear too much of this, but it was real interesting. You saying some people hitting you up. Shout out to everybody that listens and watches and everybody that drops his comments and emails and all like this shit.
Yes, sir.
That they were trying to call him, Bun B, dare I say, a snitch?
Well,
in this situation?
I'm not going to go that far.
Hell no.
But I wouldn't, necessarily, call the brother that. But the brother today sent me an email and he said the Bun B situation versus the Troy Ave situation. He said he pretty much referenced the time that we, talked about Troy Ave and the situation he was in, and people kind of, wanted to, hear what we thought about, was whether or not he was a snitch, because people are calling Troy Ave a snitch in a situation where, somebody shot at him, he picked the gun up, and his friend was killed, and pretty much trying to defend himself in that situation. Same thing here with Bun B.
It's not the same thing, but
okay.
I
mean, I'm just talking about a similar situation. Somebody shot around you and whatnot, threat,
right?
You shoot back and whatnot in that regard. But yeah. He was pretty much saying I give both of them a pass, but he said he wants us to talk about it. He didn't leave his name here, so I can't really give him a shout out. But I think it's that people. I'm not calling him a snitch for one. It was a situation where his life was being threatened, his wife's life was being threatened, and his life simultaneously, and he acted. The guy's lucky he's probably not dead, because what we hear in the guy, which is pretty much randomly, doing that. So bad place and bad timing. But the Troy Ave situation, it's also, they're in a nightclub and whatnot. It's with Taxstone. Then you, with that thing, people talk about even Taxstone, so I don't know, man. I won't call it snitching what Bun B did. No.
It's not. And this is the comparison between the two. You got one situation, and let's just throw all names, just put situations. You got situations where you got ongoing beef between two parties already going on. So it's already outside of you've already taken it there. So then you see each other and bullets start flying. It is what it is. You abide by this code that you guys live by. And now one is sitting in a situation where he's to tell or not to tell. It's not up for us to judge. If you look at it in the writings of the street, it is what it is.
Right.
As an innocent bystander, like I've always said, if you're an innocent bystander and you're in the community and somebody does injustice in the community, it is up to you to uphold the law in your community when you don't feel the police are doing the justice. If one of them people take your babies and you see it, you got to uphold. But I get it, because you got threats and things like that, and you don't got good relationships with the police, so motherfuckers ain't going there to rush to tell. I understand all that. Bun B, a man walked in his house. A man walked in his house and put a gun to his wife. And he defended his wife, and he chased dude down, took the mask off. Absolutely. He's lucky he's alive.
And it's like the situation, like he shot him. So if he went by the code and he saw him, but then when he got to the police, I don't know. I can't positively identify him. Now it's like, all right, you got to worry about the dude either coming back to try to get you, or maybe he just gonna be like, well, all right, the dude didn't. This is just a gamble. Maybe he ain't gonna do nothing because the dude didn't tell on me, so I'm just gonna leave it alone.
You don't know reasoning right
that's
now.
That's what I'm saying, right?
You don't know he's randomly looking for Chris. You Bun B. He might be targeting you.
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
This ain't nobody you got beef with. This ain't somebody that you've been talking shit to. This is somebody that just walked in your crib and tried to violate you. Fuck that. No rules.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
So yeah, it is what it is, man. Definitely. But yeah, man, you tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Old God and Sandman, going to stay on this Monday evening. I want y'all to tune in Friday night. We'll be back this Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Uncensored Truth podcast channel. Also, stay tuned and get ready for the official Uncensored Truth merchandise. It should be coming before June. Definitely before June.
Absolutely.
We'll have the merchandise for you guys and everything. And also we got the Wake and Bake podcast brewing, about to launch very, very soon. And also we'll be launching some type of a sports, I think podcast. I think in the fall, man. I feel it coming, something just to talk about some type of sports too as well, man.
Let's bring that energy. We got time for days. We're not playing with y'all. This is what we do. This is what we live for. And we accept all competition. We just love what we do. Not that we just sitting there paying attention to competition, because we're not. I don't want to put it there. But we just embrace the competitive sport of what we do. We love to be the best at what we do. We love to outwork everybody doing it. And we got time for more podcasts. So we're going to do more podcasts. We got layers to these onions. So we're going to peel them back and give them to y'all. We got the Wake and Bake podcast coming soon, like Old Guy said. We got a sports podcast coming up, brewing. I don't even want to put a date on it, but it's coming soon.
It's gonna happen,
and we looking forward to it, man.
I'm getting more and more back into the the sports scene. Definitely football. I'm gonna get more and more, the basketball, and I just think we got a perspective that people need to hear.
Game 2 tonight, 8:00, Sixers versus Raptors. Who you got? Down. You got the Sixers garb on, right? You rock with
I rock with the Sixers. A lot of people don't give the Sixers much of a chance with that, but I think this is one of the games that you got to steal going back to Philly, and maybe you get 1 or 2 there. Hopefully 2 in Philly. I don't know. You got something going for yourself. I mean, we've seen series not go the way people predicted, but we just got to see.
Indeed, man. I think that they'll come away with a win in game 2. I think that they have to in order to make the series interesting. It's going to go back to Philly. You want to steal one of these games out there in Toronto. Yeah. If you want to make this a series, which it has the potential to do. It has the potential. The Sixers have them young pieces in place. They got the energy to really make this a series out there. And they got to take the game tonight. We'll both be watching the 8 o'clock, man. Even though we were watching different locations talking about it. I'm excited, man. Like you said, we got whole different perspectives, and we grew up on this shit. And even though we don't talk about it because we had the Uncensored Truth podcast and we laid out a template and this is what we were going to ride with and how we were going to ride with it. There's other dynamics to this. And
and ain't always just, we might talk about sports and the stats, but we're going to talk about other things around sports and tie other things into that as well, how we do. So it's going to be fun, man. You know what I mean? It's going to be fun. Y'all see.
Can't wait, man. A great addition to the Uncensored Truth podcast. Oh, God, I think I got everything checked off on my list today on this Monday.
We rolled out.
Had a great episode. Y'all, salute to everyone listening on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and all major online outlets. Make sure you hit those 5 stars. Wherever you're listening, make sure you drop a comment. Let us know where you're listening from and show your love to your brothers at the Uncensored Truth podcast. And shout out to everyone that watches on Viral Hip Hop News. Hip Hop News Uncensored. And, of course, the Uncensored Truth podcast official channel and platform on YouTube. We appreciate y'all. Friday evening we'll be live, like old guy said. We got a number of surprises for y'all, like old guy said. Let's just work, man. I'm out of here.
Yeah, man. We definitely out of here. Have a great night. We'll see you on the other side tomorrow. Peace.
We shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back.
They say the best things come from the worst shit. This all facts, this ain't no verse shit. I done fought the state on some verse shit. Feeling like Franklin the day he touched his first brick. First trip, I did 95 all night. The Chuck Taylor Converse off-white. The laser at your eyes if it's on sight. Gray solar red with the orange stripe. When I brought the Lex, I felt like Malcolm Little. Riding down Martin Luther Boulevard. Dutch too tight, you got pull it hard. I'm the new black Jake Gyllenhaal. Putting Neosporin on the bullet scar. Cooking raw, eye emojis, look at all. We was up all night scrambling egg whites. Atlantic City niggas gamble with your life. Hopping out the Lex, I felt like